rabbits can have a little pumpkin as a treat. Good hello everyone and welcome to Fins and Whiskers. My name is Shine and we're going to go over 32 leafy greens for your rabbits. So with calcium and oxalic acid, you really want to watch and minimize these veggies that have high contents of these. Oxalic acid is just a natural chemical that plants use to defend themselves, and you can feed only one rich variety to buns daily and maybe skip one day of the week. Calcium in too high amounts can develop stones and cause urinary tract issues, so 510 milligrams a day is the recommended amount daily. And something that you might want to talk about with your vet when your rabbit is older or is prone to GI stasis is maybe not even feeding plants that are high in oxalic acid at all and limiting calcium a bit more. So the first leafy green I want to go over is red leaf lettuce, and you can easily recognize this by the deeply red and almost purple leaves that it has at the tip. And generally with lettuce, there is a higher nutritional value in the greener or darker leaves, so this works really well, and it's vitamin K and A rich, and it also contains vitamin B6 and magnesium. Now all veggies contain lots of minerals and vitamins. I won't go over them all, but the next one is actually strawberry leaves. Not only is the fruit edible, but the leaves also contain antioxidants and they are high in vitamin K, C, and iron. Now the next leafy green is my favorite one to talk about. It's actually a succulent and it is known as purslane or common purslane. Now these are commonly known as weeds and you can find them almost anywhere in a warm climate. They tend to grow on the ground next to dandelions and other weeds like that, but they are one of my favorites because they are the richest source of omega-3s in any plant that we know of that is edible, and omega-3s can be challenging to give rabbits in efficient amounts because the plants that do also contain omega-3s tend to be veggies like cauliflower and broccoli, and while you can feed those in very small amounts for your rabbit, they can cause gas, and overall they're just not an efficient source of omega-3s for rabbits. That being said, these plants are very high in oxalic acid, so you do want to feed these in moderation. However, you can also blanch them to reduce the oxalic acid, and I recommend feeding sweet alyssum and edible flower if you are going to blanch them, as this will help with the extra water content and control their bladder. Next is arugula, which also contains omega-3s, just not a very significant amount, but it also contains vitamin B6, riboflavin, niacin, and thiamine, and these are essential for metabolic functions. Next on the list of leafy greens are actually grape leaves, and these are very fiber rich. Bunnies digest them easily, but they are high in calcium, so you do want to feed in moderation, and they contain vitamins A and K. Although known for its edible flowers, calendula also has edible leaves. And of course, these are plants you might have to grow on your own because you can't really find them in a supermarket. And you do want to make sure that you aren't using pesticides either, but they are rich in beta-carotene and lutein, which work as antioxidants, and they also contain essential linoleic fatty acids. Another plant known for its edible flowers are hibiscus, but the leaves are also edible. They have antiseptic properties which could help clean skin and wounds and can kill germs. And they also produce flavonoids, which basically helps regulate body functions and fights off toxins and stressor. And they also contain phenolic compounds which act as antioxidants. Blackberries are another wonderful leafy green because they are part of a wild rabbit's natural diet. They are rich in flavonoids and phenolic acids, which again regulate bodily functions, and they also have immunity boosting properties. Raspberries, they work just the same as blackberries do. They are related and they're pretty much almost the same plant, although raspberry does have a little less nutrients. Similar to blackberries and raspberries, roses are actually also a part of a wild rabbit's diet, and just like rabbits are crazy about the fruit of blackberries and raspberries, they are also crazy about rose petals, but they also forage a lot on the leaves just the same. In the wild, when rabbits are looking to forage, the leaves produce way more often than the flowers and fruit. So the leaves of all three of these plants are very well known and implemented in the digestive system of rabbits. And so the whole plant is edible, even down to the thorns and the root. Rabbits can have a little pumpkin as a treat, but the leaves are also rich in vitamin A and C. It also helps promote healthy fur, supports their healthy bones and teeth, and although the leaves can be fed way more often than the pumpkin itself, they are high in calcium, so do keep it in moderation. More on the list of known for its edible flowers but also has edible leaves are sunflowers, and they have anti-inflammatory properties and aids digestion. Microgreens, or the very first leaves of an edible plant, are another fun green to feed. They have the highest amount of vitamins and minerals compared to the adult plants of that plant. Now, because it's so high in nutrients, it's something you want to use minimally, or if you're lacking variety of veggies, they're quick and easy, and so you can feed these during the winter. I will be making a video on that and several different plants that you can grow for the microgreens for your rabbits, and also gerbils, mice, and hamsters, so look out for that. Romaine lettuce is another greener variety of lettuce that you can feed to your buns. Now, they're not as green as red leaf lettuce, but they are rich in potassium, magnesium, and phosphorus. They are also packed with vitamin K, C, and folate. Romaine and red leaf lettuce are among my favorites to feed because they're something you can feed consistently and find easy at the supermarket. And while some bunnies might be picky about romaine lettuce because they do have a bit more water content, they might prefer red leaf lettuce, and that you can feed just the same. Cilantro is a leafy green herb that contains choline, which regulates the brain and nervous system. It also contains zeaxanthin, which protects eye cells, and additionally it contains beta-cryptoxanthin, which is essential for their immune response, and lastly it's packed with manganese, folate, and potassium. Bok choy, or also known as pak choy, helps maintain strong and healthy bones, but it is high in calcium as well, so you do want to feed in moderation. Chard is a humongous leafy green that is a rich source of vitamin E and zinc, but it is high in oxalic acid and calcium, so you definitely want to feed in high moderation. Kale is also a bit high in calcium, but it is also a great source of calcium that rabbits still need, but it also contains copper, vitamin B6, A, and C. Dandelion greens are also part of a wild rabbit's natural diet, and they are rich in minerals, including calcium, so do feed in moderation. Carrot greens are rich in minerals, including calcium as well, so again, feed in moderation. I do have a video on how you can grow your own carrot greens from supermarket carrots, so if you do want to see that, do check out the link above. But they contain vitamin C and they aid digestion. Now, the rest of the greens that I'm going to list in this video, I did not have clips for, but my very amazing friends and fans have provided me with photos that I needed, so thank you very much. And here are these photos of those greens. Now, almost all of these are high in oxalic acid or calcium, so you do want to feed the rest of these in moderation. However, since these are still an amazing source of calcium and buns do need calcium in their system every day, I included them so that you can get a variety of different veggies to feed for calcium, and remember that you can feed one variety of these daily, and the ones with oxalic acid you can feed one variety daily. And of course this is optional, but I do recommend skipping one day of the week where you don't feed any veggie in that day that is high in the oxalic acid. Now we are going to go over these a bit quicker than the rest because these are just sources of calcium that I really find great and that buns tend to love. So the first is mustard greens. Parsley is another leafy green herb that looks extremely similar to cilantro, but this one has more calcium, so you definitely want to eye the name tag of the veggie that you're picking out to make sure it's the one you want. Watercress is another great leafy green. It is a little bit high in calcium, but not as high as the others in this list, so you could feed a little bit more leaves of these than the rest. But on the contrary, spinach is high in both oxalic acid and calcium, so similar to chard or Swiss chard, you want to keep this in high moderation. The leaves of cucumber are also a great source of calcium. Now, some rabbits might be a bit picky about these because, like oregano, they are a bit fuzzy in the textures of the leaf. While the stalk of the broccoli is something you can't really feed very often at all, you can feed the leaves of the plant a lot more often. They are high in calcium though, so still in a bit of moderation. And in similarity, while you could probably only feed a teaspoon of these, like cauliflower, in a week, the leaves are something you can add into the calcium part of their diet and feed in moderation. Now the next three are roots, and while you would not feed the roots to your rabbits, the green part or the leaves are edible for them. They are high in both oxalic acid and calcium, so once again you want to feed in high moderation, but similar to kale, they are very rich in nutrients that are beneficial for your buns. But with all that being said, the greens are turnip greens, radish greens, and beetroot greens. Collard greens are another high in calcium and a bit high in oxalic acid. Corn leaves or corn husks are safe, and while they aren't particularly high in oxalic acid or calcium, they do have a bit of starch to them, but they are high in fiber and nutritious. Corn leaves are quite huge though. Just make sure you aren't exceeding the 1 cup that they are supposed to have per 2 pounds, and definitely less than the other veggies that you put in that mix. And lastly, celery leaves are greener than the stalk. They have a great source of calcium, but they are high in calcium, and they are a bit on the higher side of oxalic acid. But those are your 32 leafy greens for rabbits. I hope you have a great deal of variety to add now. And although it was kind of an extensive list, there are so many more veggies that rabbits can have, and I will go over them in the future, as well as herbs and flowers. So thank you guys for watching. Comment down below with your rabbits or your pet's favorite veggie, and I'll see you guys next time.